Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from Red State dated October 15th. And this one is entitled Drone Swarms Over Sensitive U.S. Bases and Nuclear Facilities is Met by Apathy and Indifference. Did you guys hear about this at all? Because this is not good, if I have to put a phrase on it. So let's see what happened here. And of course, it happens under the Biden administration. It says for 17 consecutive days in December 2023, highly sensitive U.S. military bases in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia were the target of a drone swarm of unknown origin, type, or purpose. The official response seems to be one of studied indifference. So I love how it's like, no one can tell us what happened or like what they were. It was just there were drones here. We don't know what they were doing or where they were from. Like, great. That makes our military look super competent. Sorry that my mouse is acting kind of weird, so let's just use the keyboard there. All right. So it says U.S. Air Force General Mark Kelly wasn't sure what to make of reports that a suspicious fleet of unidentified aircraft had been flying over Langley Air Force Base on Virginia's shoreline. Kelly, a decorated senior commander at the base, got on a squadron rooftop to see for himself. He joined a handful of other officers responsible for a clutch of the nation's most advanced jet fighters, including F-22 Raptors. I can talk. For several nights, military personnel had reported a mysterious breach of restricted airspace over a stretch of land that has one of the largest concentrations of national security facilities in the U.S. The show usually starts 45 minutes to an hour after sunset, another senior leader told Kelly. The first drone arrived shortly. Kelly, a career fighter pilot, estimated it was roughly 20 feet long and flying at more than 100 miles an hour at an altitude of roughly 3,000 to 4,000 feet. Other drones followed, one by one, sounding in the distance like a parade of lawnmowers. The drones headed south across Chesapeake Bay, towards Norfolk, Virginia, and over an area that includes the home base for the Navy's SEAL Team 6 and Naval Station Norfolk, the world's largest naval port. So that's fantastic that was happening. So it gets better. Officials didn't know if the drone fleet, which numbered as many as a dozen or more over the following nights, belonged to clever hobbyists or hostile forces. So again, glad our military is able to figure this out, because regardless of who it is, it's not good. It says if the story is true, what the military doesn't know about the drone dwarfs what it does know. No estimate is given for the number of drones that appeared over Langley Air Force Base before decamping for a flyover of other installations. That isn't an accident. If the size, altitude, and speed of the drones are known, I'm sure someone at least tried to count them, though, in fairness to the military that Joe Biden has created, they may have been unable to do that. It is difficult to believe that after a couple of weeks of appearing at roughly the same time, no one thought about having a helicopter aloft to follow the drones home. Likewise, a 20-foot object flying at 4,000 feet should show up on one of the dozens of radars managing airspace over Hampton Roads unless it has a stealth design, in which case we could rule out a non-national actor. The idea that a rogue hobbyist dropped a few million to develop a massive drone fleet to fly over U.S. military installations strains credulity. Says drone incursions into restricted airspace were already worrying national security officials. 2 months earlier, in October 2023, 5 drones flew over a government site used for nuclear weapons experiments. Even better. Doesn't the story just keep getting better and better? It says the Energy Department's Nevada National Security Site outside Las Vegas detected 4 of the drones over 3 days. Employees spotted a 5th. It says the military is falling back on "we can do nothing" as a reason for doing nothing. Well, again, inspires confidence, doesn't it? It says federal law prohibits the military from shooting down drones near military bases in the U.S. unless they pose an imminent threat. Aerial snooping doesn't qualify, though some lawmakers hope to give the military greater leeway. Yeah, why can't they do that? I mean, if it's a national security threat, then blow them out of the sky as far as I'm concerned. It says nothing is an imminent threat before it is an imminent threat. This is what the flight line at Langley Air Force Base looks like from the air. And there's a YouTube video you can watch. I'm not going to play it now. So just for context, the Shahed 131/136 drone used by the Russians in Ukraine to attack Ukrainian cities and infrastructure is 11 feet long and has a maximum speed of 115 miles an hour. It carried a 110-pound warhead. The drones spotted at Langley were roughly twice as long. Every $350 million F-22 you see parked there could be hit by a rather cheap drone before the airbase had time to decide they were an imminent threat and react. Yeah, that's the problem with imminent threats. It's like, and they don't react until they're being fired upon, and by that time, there's already problems, and there's already equipment and, planes destroyed. So, let's make sure that they can take care of these threats first. And if it happens to be some idiot doing stuff, which I doubt it is, then sorry, you shouldn't have been flying your stuff over an Air Force base, a restricted Air Force base. It says, as with so many other problems in the military coming out of Obama's third term, nice, the course of action chosen by the United States Air Force has been to literally hide. It says that this past week, Langley Air Force Base posted a notice looking for information on counter-drone netting that could keep the fighter jets at the base essentially shielded by spying outside UAVs. Drone swarms have been a concern for the U.S. military, given the low cost for many drones and the ability to mobilize them in large swarms. Some units have trained how to counter such drones. It says a request for information, which is, God, they butchered the spelling of information. It says information. Good job. It says, or RFI is a procurement is a standard business process with the purpose of collecting written information about the capabilities of various suppliers. This RFIs may be used when the government does not presently intend to award a contract, but wants to obtain price, delivery, other market information, or capabilities for planning purposes. Responses to these notices are not offers and cannot be accepted by the government to form a binding contract. There is no required format for RFIs. It says to show you how deeply unserious the United States Air Force is about responding to incursions by an unlimited number of unidentified UAVs. This is what it is planning to do, and I'm going to guess before I read this that it's going to say nothing at all. It says the 633rd is in the process of determining the acquisition strategy to obtain non-personal services for the Unmanned Aerial Services, or UAS, netting for East Ramp metal sunshades, and to me that sounds like gibberish. It says according to the contracting notice, says the intention of the netting is to deter and ultimately prevent the intrusion of UASs near airmen and aircraft. Okay, that makes more sense to me. Says this initial sunshade netting installation on the metal sunshade, Bay Alpha 1, shall serve as a proof of concept for the remaining sunshades. And this netting should be capable of disabling a Group 1/small unmanned aerial systems, UAS, again, you don't need to use the abbreviation again, guys, once you've already put it up there, such as the DJI Matrice 300 RTK, while remaining attached, the notice explains. Per the U.S. military's definitions, drones in Group 1 can have weights of up to 20 pounds, fly up to 1,200 feet, and reach speeds of up to 100 knots. Okay, so that's a lot of military tech speak that I don't really know anything about at all. Says, in other words, they are considering purchasing netting that will not defeat an object weighing about 800 pounds. Says the Shahed weighs 440 pounds and can achieve an altitude of at least 4,000 feet. Says absolutely nothing in this story makes sense, and if we take it at face value, we are admitting that some of the most sensitive military installations in the country are vulnerable to a drone swarm and that no one cares. And yes, that's pretty much the takeaway I'm getting from this. So yeah, there you go. So I don't know. Like I said at the beginning, have you guys heard about this? And of course, the question is, well, what do you think about this? Seems like just another blight mark on Joe Biden's tenure as president. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.